Okay, come on. Hey everyone, it's Karen from Mayfly Life. I am giving you a quick go over of my bedding plants, my container plants that I've grown up on my deck. I did a little pruning this afternoon, and as you can see, I've thinned it out a bit so that you can get some air circulation in between. These are my beefsteak tomatoes, and as you can see, they are starting to grow really, really well, and I'm just so happy about it. If it hadn't have been for the fact that I was watching, and I follow Gary from the Rusted Garden and Callie Kim, and all the advice that I get from them, I wouldn't have such beautiful container garden and have such beautiful tomatoes and other vegetables. This is my eggplant. This is actually Satin Beauty, and it's this one's a little slower. I've got flowers here, so I'll be getting, actually I do have an eggplant growing there, if you can see it. Lord knows I can't. Another section of my deck. This I've got in a container hanging basket, sort of. Just a little cheapy. And I have got, these are my Tumbler tomatoes. And like, look at all the tomatoes I've got. They're about like an inch size, 2-inch size, 1.5-inch size cherry tomato. They're specifically grown, specifically actually bred for baskets and hanging baskets. It's a very prolific plant. Like, look at those tomatoes. Oh my gosh, I can't get over how much I've got. And I'm just so looking forward to when they start blushing, because then I can actually start picking them. And I'm just excited as all get out. I've also got carrots down here, which I'm doing container. This is an experiment, so I want to see how I do. Here's my salsa container plant. I've got basil, and this is cilantro, and it's also already starting to go to seed, because we've been getting some pretty hot nights and hot days. And here I've got another Satin Beauty. Another Satin Beauty here. And this one has had a lot of flowers. This is another tumbler with actually a jalapeno pepper. And like, you can see all the tomatoes that are growing along inside. I've been sticking to quite the strict regiment of watering, keeping these guys watered, and also doing a feeding every 14 days. And then mid-season, I just did mid-season, and I top dressed with a granular fertilizer, something that'll break down over time and continue to feed these plants. This is the other opposite side of my deck, and here's another beefsteak tomato. This sucker's growing really good. I'm getting tomatoes, as you can see, really well. Another jalapeno. Look, you can see I've got peppers all over the place. I've got 2 growing right here. I've got another eggplant, another Satin Beauty. This is a cucumber plant that I'm getting up here. I wanted to do that. And here is another tumbler. So now that I've checked out and cleaned out a lot of my excuse me, a lot of my deck containers, I came down here and I was gonna start doing some pruning here. I've got my tenderloin carrots here. These are just going crazy. I jam-packed this. This is my bunching onions and my head lettuce. And I'm letting, believe it or not, in this next one, I'm letting a lot of my chard, my Swiss chard, I'm letting about quite a few plants go to seed. And I'm going to be picking all of these and ready to freeze them. My red onions, as you can see, are doing very well. They're growing pretty good. It's the first time doing it, but they're coming along. And then I've got my whole row of beefsteak and Manitoba tomatoes that are growing just like crazy, just like on the deck. Here I've got cilantro, I've got my chive, basil here, but I've also got my zinnia here and my ferndale, my more Manitobans and cherry tomatoes. I still got to come out here and prune a little bit, give them a little bit of air space, and yeah, just get them up on and stake them a little bit better. So this is a little something I have to attack on the weekend. And then I've got my purple haze carrots, and I've got also too my garlic. Like, I always thought that I would have to do garlic you know, sometime June, July, and I just have to wait for the stalks to start folding down. They haven't even begun. Well, they're starting to dry out the outer leaves, but they're still going strong. And then here, I'm just surprised as all get out the size of my broccoli. Like, look at this thing. It's huge. And actually, you know, like it's tripled. Like in the last 4 days, it's tripled in size, because it was maybe about just this size at first, like this whole flowerette right here, and then we had 2.5 days of straight rain, and then they just exploded. I came out here this morning and looked at them, and I just went, oh my goodness. But you can see how they're growing. Just massive. And here, in the next, my new flower beds, I've got the more Swiss chard. This is my second wave. And here I've got yellow beans, and growing right beside them, like they're flowering like crazy, the yellow beans. And right beside them, I just decided to do a late crop of, they're an early producing corn. And it's specifically bred here for Manitoba. And I've got calendula, and you can see that my calendula is flowering now, starting to flower. I got buds all over the place. And then I've got my cucumber plants starting to go up on the trellis. I just did some tying and sticking them to the trellis. And this is the trellis that I quickly put together. I just wanted something so that they'll climb and go up around. It's not tall or huge or anything like that, but it's perfect for any climbing vines on this side to go up. I left it open a little bit there for my broccoli. One of my broccoli plants looks like it's just like bleh, but that's okay. I mean, at least they're growing. You can see another head. That's all my romaine lettuce. And then right in here are my beets, and this is my first wave of beans, yellow beans, and then I've got more red onion. So it's actually turning out to be really good, lush. Might have put them a little close, some of the vegetables a little close to each other, but that's how my garden is starting to turn out. My favorite place to be. Spending time in my garden. Finished weeding, finished pruning. Tomato plants are doing really good. You can see how they're more airy, more open, give good air circulation. And I picked 4 or 5 broccoli heads, really good sized broccoli heads, and I've packaged good 1 pound packages, 5 of them, of broccoli. And it's not tons, Not a lot, but it's a good start for my first time growing broccoli. And what I'm going to do is definitely grow that variety again. It's called Green Magic, and they're a nice uniform head, nice size. And instead of getting side shoots and like letting the stalk stay in the ground, I opted to pull the stems out. Whatever side broccoli shoots came out, I picked off. And what I'm going to do is replace with a nice purple bean for a fall harvest. So I'll have lots of beans this year. I know for a fact I'll have lots. You can see just on the other side of my chamomile, not my chamomile, my calendula plants, there are another half row of yellow beans, and right here, right in front here, are my other yellow beans. It's a full row, and they're all getting watered right now. And it's very peaceful out here. I just love coming out here and spending time in my garden. My cherry tomatoes are doing really well. They've been pruned up because they're indeterminate plants, and you need to keep them under control. These are the sweet 1 million, and I'm getting sprinkled on. Oh well, it's nice. It's a nice feeling. And then in front there, I got the 3 Manitobans in front of those bamboo poles. That's where my cherry tomatoes are, and my Manitobans are right there in front. Those are indeterminate, so you don't want to... Ooh, that just missed me. You don't want to prune those because they're a determinate, and if I prune those ones, then I wouldn't get as many tomatoes. Like the Manitobans are medium-ish size tomato, very meaty, nice to grow here in Manitoba. But my cherry tomatoes, like this, like they're the sweet 100s, I believe they are, not sweet millions. They're the sweet 100s, and I mean, I'll get a lot of cherries from there, but I'm going to get a lot from my tumblers as well that are on my deck. No tumblers in my garden here, but it's all Manitobans and beefsteak, and my larger cherry tomatoes. So yeah, it'll be nice.